What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today I want to do a video on a topwater bait that a lot of people don't talk about. It's actually a hard bait to find videos on, and a lot of people don't even know about them. And it's you know uh, I wouldn't say a secret bait, but it's a bait that a lot of people sleep on. And I want to talk to you guys about it. And it's a weight bait. And the particular one I want to talk to you about is the Rapala Waking Minnow. And this bait I started throwing a couple years back and just tried to learn the bait. And I had seen it in a tackle store and kind of got curious, and decided, hey, I'm going to try that bait out. So I picked one up, and I got one of the boxes here, right here. And this is, again, it's the Rapala BX Waiting Minnow. It's a 3/4 ounce bait. That's what's that kind of had me a little bit, not so sure about, just because of the size. I mean, this is just over 5 inches long, 3/4 ounce. I mean, this is a fairly large topwater bait. And what I noticed was when I was throwing, your traditional walked-in baits like a spook or a big sexy dog or something like that. Sometimes those fish will come up there and they'll miss that bait. They'll come up and blow up behind it, or they'll just kind of slap at it, or sometimes you can't get those fish to come all the way up to the surface to eat that bait. And I was trying to find something that I could substitute for those fish that won't fully commit to that bait. So when I picked this guy up, started throwing it around, I saw that I was catching some of those fish that I was missing. But the other thing is, this is a totally different presentation than your traditional walking bait. This is a bait, when you throw out there, you're just going to have a steady retrieve to it, and it's going to throw a V line ripple on top of the water. This is a just subsurface bait. I mean, just barely up under the water, but it's gonna run back and forth on top, just up under the surface, but it leaves that little bit of weight, and it just has a nice back and forth cadence to it coming back to the boat. And it blew my mind throwing this bait. All the guys that are out there throwing the topwater, the walk-in baits and your buzz baits and whopper ploppers, stuff like that. Nobody was throwing a weight bait, and so for me, it was a no-brainer to go and behind all these guys and throw something like this that those fish don't see very often. But after trying this bait out from Rapala, I ventured out and tried some other weight baits on the market and some different profiles. Some of them will come in look like a crankbait profile. Caught a few fish on those, but it still, to me, didn't give me the action and the presentation like a minnow style bait like this Rapala. Um, as you guys know, Rapala does an incredible job with their hard baits. This one is no different. It actually has it's encased balsa with this, I don't know the technical term, but it's like a plastic coating over the balsa. So extremely durable. 3 sets of treble hooks on them. They come stock with the VMC hooks. They're great right out of the pack. If you're a guy that always likes to change the hooks, you're more than welcome to do that. But I've had no problem straight out of the pack catching fish. Comes with a really good split ring on the front. Like I said, it runs true, done fantastic. Their color selection, you guys know Rapala's color selection is, in my opinion, one of the best. And the two I've got right here, this is more like a blueback heron color, and this is just a traditional, shad threadfin color. But where this bait shines for me is spotted bass fisheries. Your deep, clear water, highland reservoir fisheries. This is where I'm throwing this bait the most. On those long tapering points, those flats that come up in about 10 or 8 foot of water, even around docks, I'll get fish to come out of the dock to get this bait. And to me, I throw it any conditions, whether it's cloudy or straight bluebird skies. To me, I haven't seen, if they're willing to come eat a topwater, they're going to come and eat this weight bait. And the neat thing about it is you don't have to have any special gear for it. You're going to throw it on your same rod that you would throw a traditional walking bait. The only thing I do different is I will make sure I have a mono leader on this bait because I want that bait to stay up, and fluorocarbon is going to sink. Braid, you can throw straight braid on it, but to me, I get better action out of that mono if I throw like a straight 30 or 40 pound braid to a 17 or 20 pound mono leader. That just gives that bait a little bit better action. And also, when those fish come up and eat it, you've got a little bit of stretch to let those fish completely get that bait so you don't rip those treble hooks out of their mouth. Same thing with fighting those fish. You guys know when you're fighting those spotted bass, they like to surge a whole bunch. And having that mono and a little bit, loose drag, it really helps fight those fish and get those fish in the boat. For me, the best time of year when I start throwing this bait is when those fish, especially those spots, start moving up to those hard spots, getting ready to spawn. And you guys will see it when, if you go find a flat that, if you're dragging a bait, like say a shaky head or a jig, and you're noticing, hey, those spots are coming up and they're eating it, and it feels like that they're moving that bait, or you'll feel a bite and set the hook and he's not there, those fish are spawning. And those spots love to pull up on those flats and long tapering points and around docks, and they'll spawn in a little bit deeper water. And this is one of those baits that just seems to trigger those fish into coming up and eating that bait. And from then on, especially into the fall, is when I'm going to throw this bait. Anytime that water temp gets above, that 60-degree mark, and those fish are willing to come up and eat off the surface, I'm always going to have a weight bait tied on. It's just, to me, not a lot of people are throwing it. It's a different presentation, and what I've seen is that I catch a few more fish that won't fully commit to that traditional walking bait or whopper plopper and stuff like that. So guys, that's it. Wasn't a really great and long and special video, but I honestly think that if you're looking for a bait that not a lot of people are throwing, and you want to give those fish a different presentation, this is your bait. I promise you, you won't be battling everybody on the water that's throwing a buzz bait and a spook. You can come behind those guys with a weight bait and catch those fish. So in the description, just like all my other videos, I'm going to link, my rod setup, my line. I'll link, these baits, a few colors, all of that stuff will be in the description. So you guys be sure on all of my videos, go and check the description out. I put a lot of information in there for you guys to look at and know exactly what I'm talking about. So you guys can go find that. Go to your tackle store, go on Tackle Warehouse and find it, and go out there and catch more fish. But thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you guys on the next one.